Part two of this video, I want to start breaking down the different health insurance markets for small businesses, and I use these two charts here. Excuse me for not having graphics. This is the best I could do, old-fashioned little whiteboard here. But this basically is the breakdown. We know what ICRAs are. I explained that in the last video. We know how they're different than the SHOP program that existed. But still, you might wonder, you still have the individual marketplace. How do ICRAs as a small business compare to just going to the individual marketplace? Or when does it make sense to go to the individual marketplace? That all depends on basically two factors, to me at least. And one is, and I have it here, the age of the employee and the income of the employee. We break it down into tiers. This is under 35 years old. 35 to 55 years old is our middle tier, and 55 to 65 years old is our oldest tier, 65 being when you qualify for Medicare, a completely different program and applies in a completely different way than any of this. So that's why I have 65 as a cutoff. And then the income of the employees, because again, what we're measuring is based on the income, and I'll explain these categories, but based on the income, would it make more sense for the employee, and given their age, since the price of the plan is based on more or less nothing more than the age of the employee on the marketplaces, does it make sense to go to the individual market and allow the employee to save more money in, right here, advanced premium tax credits, APTCs, or subsidies as we know them as? Or does it make more sense for the employer to sponsor an ICRA and offer an employer contribution through which they'll be writing off more on their tax base than the employee would otherwise get in these APTCs? So assuming that the tax credit is equal for the employer as it is to the advanced premium tax credits, the APTCs, and what employees would qualify for given those conditions, we measure each sort of demographic of employee based on what would be the best fit for him. So what I have here is I break it down based on the federal poverty level. Reason being is because the marketplaces use the federal poverty level as an index to determine what somebody's income is and how much they should qualify for accordingly. The older you are, the more expensive the plan is going to be for you, so the more of a subsidy you would get, all things being equal, with the income. Okay? So what we have here, for under 35 years old, I have 225% of the federal poverty level. Advanced premium tax credits, these people would probably make most sense to go and get subsidies on the individual market. And especially the older you get, the more sense it even makes, because the premiums are going to be more and more costly to the employers, but you, given your age, are going to get more and more in subsidy money. But because 225 is so low, it really makes sense, even for the youngest of employees, to really look at the individual market first, all other things being equal. Second, we have 225 to 350%. I use that range because for the most part, and you'll see it here, for the most part, unless you're really an older employee in that 55 to 65 range, the ICRA would make most sense because the write-off in that range is going to, just up to affordability, is going to be bigger for the employer than it's going to be for the employee to use on the individual market in a subsidy. That is, unless they're older, and again, the plan is more expensive as a result, it's going to be cost prohibitive enough for the employer to maybe not consider that option and to allow their employees within that category to look at advanced premium tax credits first. And then lastly, 350% of the federal poverty level and above. That basically means you're getting very little to no subsidies from the government. So everything that your employer can contribute to make it affordable is going to make more sense. For all age categories, I suggest ICRA first. But then we have here my second chart. And this is where we get a little bit, just a little bit more different and unique as far as how we're going to break down the right health insurance market for you. Now, in the second chart, what I have here is if you qualify for an ICRA, based on, generally speaking, based on these criteria, when will an ICRA versus a level funded plan make more sense? And now, really quick, what is a level funded plan? A level funded plan, that was a market set up not too long ago, probably about the same time that ICRAs were legislated into effect, where insurance companies now let you, as a small business, underwrite your own claims. You're covering your own claims. You get a health plan, and in that health insurance premium that you pay is basically an estimated amount of claims cost based on the claims or on the estimated claims of your group. So the way that works, largely speaking, the healthier your group and the younger your group is, the lower the price of the plan is going to be relative to the ICRA, right? The older your group is and the unhealthier your group is, the opposite. The more the ICRA is going to make sense over the level funded plan. Level funded plans, if you can get them, they're very good. They're a better option than the ICRA for most people. The benefits are just as robust. They negotiate with doctors in a more variable way of options, which allows them to lower the price point. And there aren't exclusions. As long as you can get the plan, there really aren't exclusions for coverage. You have to be covered for virtually everything. So they're competitive in that sense too. And then the chart speaks for itself. If you're healthy, doesn't matter how old you are, you should always look for level funded first. Moderately healthy, by that I mean no more than one pre-existing condition. Even then, level funded would make more sense unless you're in that 55 to 65 range, because these level funded plans, they are pickiest, you should know, with older employees, knowing that older employees are most likely to have something come up in the future. And then if you're not healthy, I don't care how old you are, the ICRA would make the most sense in that case.